Hello and welcome into the Beat Sessions. I'm your host, Mitchell Weary. It's Friday, April 8th, and I hope you all took a little time to clear some space in your schedule in the next 7 days to handle the massive amount of music that dropped today. Very exciting Friday. Really looking forward to the next week on the channel. A couple hip-hop albums that I want to review, a couple albums from Tucson bands that we'll be looking at as well, just to allude to a few things that'll be going on. It's going to be a busy week, so stay tuned. We need to kick things off with Jack White, though, and his brand new record, Fear of the Dawn. This is his fourth solo outing, and it follows 2018's Boarding House Reach. And for those of you who fell in love with Jack because of his love for analog and that garage rock minimalism, the disappointment might continue. Or maybe not. Maybe you've learned to love this new sound that he's embracing. I look at his career, though, and the trajectory of it, and this move just seems to make sense. You look at what he was doing with the White Stripes and what he's done throughout his career, and he's really taken minimalism to an insane level. I mean, this is a guy that seriously could take a broomstick and tie 6 strings up to it and play it. He's just that good at what he does. You know, you consider how eccentric he is, though, and how all over the place he is. And so to go in the opposite direction, really start messing around in the studio, start creating this music with all these layers and textures and, you know, stuff that's outside of what we became familiar with in him. You know, the White Stripes, they've been broken up for quite a while now. It's been at least 12 years. And, you know, you look at the other projects that he's been involved with, the Dead Weather, the Rack and Tours, you can certainly hear his sound filling out there with those projects. But what I like about Jack, the solo stuff, no matter what he's involved with, you can still feel his presence. And this record's no exception. It's very much a Jack White record. It's a very interesting sound that he's working with. He basically made a progressive rock record with industrial textures. That's mostly what's going on here. But you still get that feeling of Jack White blues and gospel and soul. And it's just what he does. It's such an integral part of him as a musician that I feel like no matter what type of music he makes, that element is always going to be there. And so for those of you who are, you know, you're not fans of this style or what he's doing with these projects, I would give them a listen. I would give them some time, maybe let them grow on you, because, you know, instrumentally, it's amazing what he's doing. These compositions have a lot going on within them. Definitely very experimental. Again, lots of layers and textures, different sounds and samples that he's utilizing on this track. He brought aboard Q-Tip as well to help him out with Heidi Ho, the 4th track on this record. So that's an interesting track. I don't know how I feel about it quite yet. I think it might be maybe the weakest moment on the record, but that's not to say that it's not fun and that I don't enjoy it. This album is just, like I said, I think it makes sense for Jack White at this point in his career to mess around with any and all things. And I think if you listen hard enough, and especially towards the end of this record, you definitely get more of that White Stripes feel and more of kind of that old school Jack White flavor that some of you might be missing with more of these recent albums. But this thing kicks off with Taking Me Back, It's got the thick, fuzzy tone, heavy riff. This song, it's very prog rockish, and honestly, it reminds me of Prophets of Rage. You listen to the drumming. His drumming reminds me of Brad Wilk on this record a lot, especially this song, though. But it's an interesting album opener. It's really not going to set the tone for anything except for that progressive feel. The rest of the tracks, they're very interesting. They take on characteristics and styles of their own, and it makes this album a lot of fun to listen to. I really enjoyed it. I was very shocked and surprised by what happened. That first track, Taking Me Back, it kicks right into the title track, Fear of the Dawn, which is just a furious 2-minute stupid song. It's just got this chugging riff. He rips right through it and then right into the White Raven. Your third track, it's got this industrial prog rock feel again. It opens up with this, it sounds like a riff that Adam Jones from Tool would write, and it closes with this riff too. I really like the way that this song is bookended by that little melody, but a very interesting track and a lot going on as far as the influences and the genres working within that. Heidi Ho featuring Q-Tip as your 4th track. Big guitar intro for like a minute and a half. It's really interesting the way that he's just kind of like just shredding and ripping in this guitar, and then the beat comes in and, you know, the song settles. It works into this great little groove, and it's interesting. I don't know how I feel about it. It's good, but it's so different from what you'd expect for Jack White. So it's growing on me. Hopefully it grows on you. I hope that you dig this record, because I think it really, at its heart, is a lot of fun. Yosophobia is your 5th song. That is the technical word for Fear of the Dawn. And this is probably my favorite track on the record. I really like this song a lot. It's got this reggae style intro that builds into this just ferocious Who style garage riff, and he just rips this riff up, and I love how hard rocking this song is. It is absolutely incredible, really nicely done. Leads into your sixth song, Into the Twilight. It's got this heavy 80s rock feel. It reminded me of Don Henley in Building the Perfect Beast. All she wants to do is dance. That's what this song really sounded like to me. I liked the vibe of it, thought it felt good. Leads into your seventh song, Dusk, which is just an instrumental interlude for about 30 seconds. Takes into What's the Trick, your eighth track. It's got this interesting recitative lyric, and this back end of the album is where we start to get a little more of that old school Jack White feel, as far as more of that blues stuff, more of that White Stripe style, excuse me. That's not to say that this is going to sound like the White Stripes, though, but you'll hear it. You'll hear those elements. And What's the Trick? It's got this just great heavy blues riff. I really like the different numerous breakdowns in the song. Makes it a very unique composition, and it's very experimental, very exciting, as far as you don't know where the song is going to go, and it keeps you on the edge of your seat, keeps you engaged. That was Then. This is Now is your ninth track. It's got this bouncy riff and plays with a lot of samples. This is extremely experimental, but I start thinking about Icky Thump and some of the stuff that Jack was doing towards the end of the White Stripes career, incorporating different musical elements. And I think the only difference really listening to this stuff versus some of that heavier stuff on that record in particular is just the different layers and textures. There's not this minimalism, but I mean, he's really filling out the sound, playing with the studio, and cramming in as much noise in a good way as he possibly can. It's just a different approach to making music, and I dig that he's doing it. Yosophobia Reprise is your 10th song. It's definitely just it shreds to open. It's got this really cool riff that he's just kind of soloing, and then Mellow Reprise definitely tones down from its sister that leads before it. And then your penultimate track, Morning, Noon, and Night, it's just got this good classic rock feel combined with progressive rock, and definitely feeling more of Jack White, that kind of traditional feel that we all grew to know and love him for. And your final track, Shedding My Velvet, it's got this jazzy beat. Again, I'm hearing Brad Wilk on the drums on this particular track. Funky bass, light guitar, great piano. It's a solid way to close out a 12-song, 40-minute album that has just got a great run, great continuity on this thing. It's probably going to blow your lid off. It's a very interesting project from Jack. Probably, I mean, I don't know. Boarding House Reach was very interesting as well, where that took on kind of more of like an electro funk feel. I feel like this thing, again, industrial prog rock, it's very heavy more often than not. And I think it's a cool sound for him to embrace. I'm really digging. I read somewhere after I listened to this record that Jack has become somewhat self-indulgent. And you know what? I'm feeling self-indulgent right along with him. I feel like I know exactly where he's coming from wanting to make this record. It's a style of music that I appreciate, and while I might not expect it from him, I dig that he's doing it. So I'm going to vinyl please this thing. I absolutely love this record, and I hope that you love it too. I hope you find this review helpful as well. Please like this video, share it, subscribe to the channel, do all the things to help me blow this project up in 2022, and stay tuned throughout the week for more album reviews. We will see you next time on The Beat Sessions.